Once upon a time in the East Midlands. This week on the Football League show, it's Derby versus Nottingham Forest. The Foxes are in the hunt for a playoff place. This week Leicester take on the increasingly impressive Millwall. And making a fresh start, it's new Burnley boss Eddie Howe's first match in charge of the Clarets. His team face Scunthorpe. We start the show with one of the season's most anticipated matchups. Derby versus Nottingham Forest is a local derby that rarely fails to fulfil its potential for drama and excitement. Your commentator is Martin Fisher.
McGugan fancies this. He's scored a few crackers already this season. It's on target and Bywater down to make a very good save. Back in by Tyson and away by Ben Davis. That was travelling from Lewis McGugan, zipped across the turf. Bywater got a good sight of it, down well to make a smart stop. Collins, who's been quiet. Addison after it, Morgan the favourite, but he's lost it. Addison in here, back for Porter, off the line, in goes Bueno, and Lynch clears for Forest. Addison will feel he should have done better. But did he foul Morgan there? Yes, there was a push. That's what Morgan is complaining about. And Porter maybe should have buried that opportunity. Bueno. Now Porter. Davis is in the box. There he is. And was he pushed? Well, Joel Lynch was the defender. And Ben Davis, looking to attack that centre, appeared to get a nudge. Maybe a chance here for Davis! What a save by Camp! Oh, the debutant almost broke the stalemate there. And Lee Camp, with his first save of the game, produces a world-class stop. Here's Tyson again. Showed a bit of that to Brayford, but has shown him a clean pair of heels. The pullback for Anderson. Earnshaw unmarked. Earnshaw! Forest go in front, and it's the former Derby man Earnshaw that puts it away. Billy Davis brought him off the bench to do just that, and Earnshaw provides the goal. Tyson with the approach. Look at the space for Earnshaw here. The first timer beyond Bywater, bottom corner. It's only the fourth goal Earnshaw has scored this season, and 3 have come against his former employers. Up goes Barker, good header, great save Camp. Barker's in there again, and this time it's Lynch who clears. It's another great save from the Derby-born Forest keeper. Moxie having a wild kick at Earnshaw there, after the ball had gone. Forest players unhappy with that. Moxie has already been booked, and is there further punishment here for the Derby left-back? Just complete the Derby misery, yes. It's a yellow, the second of the afternoon for Moxie, and he's off. It cannot get any worse, can it, for Derby County?
No team has won more matches in the Championship than Brendan Rodgers' Swansea. As for their opponents Barnsley, they lost key player Adam Hamill to Wolves last week, but it didn't stop them from opening the scoring, albeit from an unlikely source. Bobby Hassell's header crossing the line for his first goal of the season. The Swans had lost their last 3 on the road and nearly found themselves 2 goals down, but the home side didn't get the benefit of a linesman's flag for a second time, as he deemed Danny Haynes to be offside. Barnsley held on until 4 minutes from time, until a contentious decision saw goalkeeper Luke Steele penalised for bringing down Scott Sinclair, despite the Barnsley protests. Sinclair had scored 2 penalties last weekend, and he made no mistake again to score his 5th goal in 4 games. In fact, Swansea even had a chance to win it late on, but Luke Moore couldn't keep his composure after creating a chance for himself. It stops the rot on the road for the Swans, but vital ground lost in the race for automatic promotion.
A win for Watford at the Cardiff City Stadium would have made it 7 in a row in the league, equalling a club record. One of those was a 4-1 win against the Bluebirds at Vicarage Road earlier in the season, so revenge may have been one motivation for the hosts. Less than a quarter of an hour played when Peter Whittingham's long ball found Craig Bellamy. It took the Welshman 2 attempts to score his 150th club career goal. Cardiff had failed to win in 5 of their last 6 in League and Cup, but were much better side in the first half hour. Jay Bothroyd's beautifully weighted ball put in Michael Chopra, 2-0 Cardiff. There's no coincidence that Cardiff's poor recent form has coincided with Bothroyd's 7-week injury layoff, but he became the 3rd member of a 3-pronged attack to find the net just after the half hour. It was Bothroyd's 14th in the league this season, and Cardiff were cruising. But Watford have shown plenty of attacking prowess themselves this campaign, averaging 2 goals a game. They gave themselves a glimmer of hope just 2 minutes later. Will Buckley, with all the time in the world, 3-1. Watford are the Championship's form side, but it was a surprise their self-belief only became apparent early in the second half. It was a wonderful effort despite Tom Heaton's unfortunate slip. The 6th goal in 6 games for Marvin Sordell, 3-2, and now game on. Cardiff were now hanging on, and just before the hour, Watford thought they'd grabbed a 3rd. Buckley's cheeky finish wouldn't count. He was a fraction offside. Buckley was on the receiving end of a number of heavy Cardiff challenges, but the hosts couldn't contain the Watford midfielder, who was a fraction away from adding to his 4 league goals for the season. Then J. Emmanuel Thomas, making his Cardiff debut, put in a cross that Watford really should have cleared. The Hornets were punished by substitute Gabor Yepes, so there'd be no comeback and no record-breaking run. Cardiff back to winning ways.
I look at Will Buckley today, who ended up with 10 fouls against him, and it was from various different players. And I've been in to ask the referee, surely protection has to happen if someone's been targeted, which clearly it was. And I think that the referee's got to do something about that. He's got to justify somehow that that can't go on. And I've got a player in there whose legs are black and blue.
Guns N' Roses replaced the usual Star Wars theme at Bramall Lane, but would Axel and Slash inspire United to Mickey Adams' first win, or merely fire up a well-supported Norwich? The struggling Blades are in danger of emulating City neighbours Wednesday, who were relegated last season. They started well, with Ched Evans forcing John Ruddy into a good save. The Canaries, meanwhile, are only 2 points off the automatic promotion places. Chris Martin's free kick almost gave them the lead. It actually took Norwich an hour to break through. United felt their keeper Steve Simonson was impeded. Either way, his punch only reached Andrew Crofts, who returned with interest. The Blades still have the Championship's bluntest attack, but record signing Ched Evans gave them some hope when he made the most of Simonson's long punt. It meant United were heading for a 3rd straight draw, that is, until the last 10 minutes. Another corner that they failed to clear. Simon Lappin had the first attempt, but Crofts had the one that mattered. So still no win for Mickey Adams, while Norwich continue on course for consecutive promotions.
Portsmouth were hoping to avoid a 4th straight Championship defeat when they took on Leeds at Fratton Park. The 2 teams took part in a 3-3 thriller at Ellen Road in December. This was another entertaining encounter. Greg Halford inches away from giving Pompey the perfect start. The home side had the best of the early sparring and took a deserved lead midway through the first half. Liam Lawrence drew several defenders with a probing run down the left-hand side, but it was the cleanest of strikes from Joel Ward, just his 2nd goal for the club. Leeds, the Championship's joint top scorers, haven't been shut out by many defences this season, and just 2 minutes after the break they were level. Robert Snodgrass's free kick eventually bundled in by Luciano Becchio, league goal number 13 for the Argentine. John Utaka hadn't scored since September, but he did well to latch on to fellow Nigerian Kanu's flick on 2-1, and it was a welcome goal for Utaka, who'd clearly forgotten how to celebrate.
Second goal for Pompey.
Simon Grayson reacted by immediately bringing on David Sommer, and the South Africans' impact was immediate. It was Sommer's very first touch of the ball, an 8th league goal of the season, to make it 2-2. But with 15 minutes remaining, a power failure briefly halted proceedings. And the lights went out a second time with just 5 minutes to play. Eventually, the game was able to reach its conclusion after 14 minutes of added time. No more power failures and no more goals, and Portsmouth earn a first championship point of 2011.
After 7 matches undefeated at home, Reading have started to turn the Madejski into the proverbial fortress. Add to that, Hull had never won at the Madejski, and all the signs pointed towards a home win. Indeed, it was the hosts that created the better first-half chances, and they felt they should have had a penalty when Andy Dawson tangled with Jimmy Kebe, but it wasn't given. However, Hull hadn't lost away since September, and when half-time substitute Corey Evans made the most of a mistake by Ian Hart, the visitors had the lead, and the on-loan Manchester United defender had a debut goal. Defeat would have been harsh on Reading, but they were given the chance to pull level when the in-form Shane Long was tricked by Tigers' on-loan goalkeeper Brad Guzan. Hart stepped up to make amends for his earlier mistake, and so it finished 1-1, with both sides still in the hunt for a playoff place.
Still to come, Leicester hope to keep up their good form against Millwall. And it's a clash of the Clarets, Scunthorpe versus Burnley.